Once a fish met a turtle and asked, everyone is speaking about the ocean, and they say that the ocean is a very huge thing, but I can't see it. I'm looking around and I can see sand, shells, other fishes that are fighting for their lives. But where is this ocean? I can't see it. And the turtle, of course, answers, you know, the ocean is all around you, and it is even in you, because you are totally immersed in it. But if you look at a special thing, you can't know it. So, this is also our condition. Everything we can perceive, everything we can know, everything we can understand is a limited form. And so we can never understand, know, perceive the ocean, what is, the totality, the whole of existence. Our mind draws many maps in order to understand reality. And we can see reality only through those maps of mind, of conceptual and made of words and concepts, you know? And usually these maps are a simplification of the territory. You cannot have a map that is like the territory, otherwise it would be as big as the territory. So the map must simplify, schematize through simpler patterns the territory. And what is in the map is what is useful for us as living organisms to survive. But we pay a price for this. For example, the concept of a tree. If you just ask your concept of the tree, how it is, it usually comes into your mind as an image that's very similar to when children draw a tree. The concept of the tree for us usually is just made of a couple of things. There is the green part, there are the branches and the leaves, that is one part, and then there is the trunk and maybe also the roots. Sometimes we don't see the roots in our concept of the tree. And that is enough for us, enough for knowing how we can use the tree. For example, we can, with this image, we can know that we cannot pass through a tree by car. So we must avoid the tree. And we can make some furniture from the wood, and maybe we can eat some fruit. But the price we pay in seeing the tree through the concept of the tree is that we lose the wonder of the moving leaves when the wind blows, and the extraordinary variety of nuances of green when the rays of the sun pass through the leaves, or the lines, the incredible lines that are on the trunk. Of course, if we are driving a car and are contemplating those lines, we can have an accident. So of course it's useful to have these maps. But we must be aware that the maps are really a simplification of what is. Paradoxically, with the use of concepts, even if concepts are simpler, it complicates our perception of reality. Because, reality is a huge amount of diversities, of varieties, that just present themselves all together in a unity. In just one moment, all this universe is showing itself through a variety of differences, but all together. And we, just in order to know it, try to give a name to every single aspect. And so, but the problem is that all these aspects are really nuances of one. When we use concepts and give different names to different nuances, we begin to believe that the universe is made of fragments that are only, this idea is only due to the fact that there is a different name for different things. For example, an apple is different from the branch is different from the tree, which is different from the seed, and so on. But the seed, the tree, the branch, the flower, the fruit are just different names we give to one nameless process, which can't be separate from the overall process that we call the universe. So it's very useful, but the idea comes that universe is made of fragments, each fragment separate from the others, and each fragment corresponding to a concept. And once we have done this operation, we try to understand the whole just by connecting those fragments with other concepts which describe the relationships among the fragments. And so we complicate a lot our perception of the universe, and in the belief that if we make our concepts more and more complicated, more and more complex, at last maybe that we will have a complete picture of the whole. And this is an impossible task, because the very fact of using concepts makes the whole incomplete. So we leave the whole as a problem to be solved, while, as Wittgenstein said, if a problem is unsolvable, it's not a problem at all. It's just a mystery, And you can't solve a mystery as if it were a problem. You can only plunge into it. And when you plunge into it, you may be that you can realize that you don't need to understand it because you are it. And you can realize also that the mystery of existence is too simple to be known by the complications of our mind. It's actually so simple that it eludes any attempt to grasp it by our mind. However, sooner or later, our belief in concepts and maps just collapses spontaneously. And it happens more frequently than we imagine. Albeit we usually don't realize it consciously. But it happens during a day, many times, and we don't realize it. And then when it happens, we may find ourselves free falling into an unknown space where the utter simplicity of what is explodes in the wonder of this incredible universe we live in. We are. You know, from time to time, our attention that is usually focusing on specific things, sounds, colors, thoughts, memories. Our attention is always focused on something. But from time to time, this attention stops doing it and reverts to a directionless suspension. I don't know if you noticed, it happens spontaneously, but since there is nothing specific to see, in those moments too are usually overlooked. And when it happens, a pure sense of being, simple sense of being, comes up spontaneously as a self-evident actuality. Just a feeling of being, not of being this or that. You know, the sense of being that the mind translates into the words I am is prior to any perception, to any sensation, to any thought. Because if, first of all, I am not here, if there is not this aware presence, nothing can appear. In fact, when we go and sleep in the deep, dreamless sleep, nothing appears. So the sense of being is prior to experience. But sometimes when our attention that is always looking at this or that stops for a while, it becomes self-evident, not as an object that is before us and we perceive our sense of being. No, because we are it. It's just shining through us as a simplicity but that is evident, self-evident. Usually when we live, if we could translate our experiences, we could translate with the sentence, I am this, I am that. We say, for example, I am tired, I am happy, I am sad, I am intelligent, I am stupid, I am old, I am young, I am beautiful, I am ugly, and so on. And this sentence can show us how it works. First of all, I am. If I am not, no this and that can appear. So the I am opens the horizon of every this and that. But when we begin to see that I am this or that, all our attention gets focused only on this or that and overlooks what opens up the horizon of every here and that. This is because, of course, as living organisms and human beings with a body and a mind, for us it's very important to be happy and not sad, to be healthy and not with an illness, or to be intelligent and not stupid, and so on. So the this attracts our attention, and the I am becomes overlooked. But the this and that changes a lot. First, at the beginning is I am young, then it becomes I am old, or I am happy, I am sad, and then I am happy again. So the this, I am this, comes and goes, changes. The I am doesn't change. It's what allows every this to appear and disappear. And how can I say that this I am, this pure aware presence is mine and not yours? That is only personal. You know, what is a person? What is personal? A body and a personality. What is a personality? It's just recurring patterns of behavior and emotion and thought. And all of that is the this of I am this. Because I can see my emotions, I can see my thoughts, I can see the recurring patterns that I call my personality, and I can see also my bodily processes. But the one who sees them has no feature, no personal feature. It's just seeing, it's just being. So the paradox is that what is the really root of my identity, this being and being aware, is not personal. It has nothing personal. All what makes me different from another one is the body or the mind, that is the this, what I am aware of. But the pure, simple fact of being aware and of existing, how can I say that my existing is different from yours? And so, what is easier to imagine that there are many different being and awarenesses that are totally identical, or that there is just one that, like the moon, then reflects in its totality in each pond of water. This sense of being is impersonal and formless. And so it can have a name or a concept that could grasp it. We use vague terms like maybe our true self or awareness and so on. But actually it's impossible to understand it with concepts, and there is no need to do that because we are it. We know it by identity, not by knowledge. When the sense of being, even the sense of being, collapses into the utter simplicity of what is, really, what really is, when the sense of being collapses into the utter simplicity of what is, nothing else remains but a mysterious aliveness. And that is what we really are.